I'm a full-time Wutehring Wave player, but I actually tried out Zenless on Zero during the beta. It was cool, but it wasn't very fun. The combat was fun, it was kind of cool, but the TV system just sucks so much that I just didn't want to play the game at all. However, I decided to give the game one more chance again because of the most recent character trailer, Jane Doe. It turned out when you have millions of dollars to toss into a game trailer, you don't actually have to make the game good. Or do you? Well, today I'm going to be answering everybody's favorite hot take: is Zenless on Zero better or is Wutehring Wave better? So this is going to be my review of Zenless on Zero as a Wutehring Wave player. Now I know what you're thinking. Why do you have to compare the two of them? Why can't you just play two of them? Okay, no one out there have the money to play two gacha games, okay? You gotta pick one. Nope, you gotta pick one. Nope, so we're gonna be answering that question today. Ooh, so yeah, let's the hot take begin. Before that though, you're probably wondering what this is right here. This is actually a VTuber that I've been recently working on. You can check out it on 210 VTuber on Twitter. There'll be a lot more things coming to the channel soon. Stay tuned. Subscribe as always. The first thing I want to talk about is that Zenless on Zero got amazing soundtrack. This I already commented during the beta, but honestly, Wutehring Wave soundtrack is kind of disappointing coming from their previous game, Punishing Grey Raven. Whereas Zenless on Zero's soundtrack, full banger, okay? So the only thing you're gonna hear in this video is gonna be Zenless on Zero. That's a good start for a Zenless on Zero, actually. Coming into Zenless on Zero, I was actually pleasantly surprised at the beginning of the game. It is noticeable how much improvement they have made since the beta. They reduced a lot of the TV system across the board. Don't get me wrong, I still hate it. I still absolutely wish they would just completely remove it. They did add a 2x speed system that make it a lot more bearable, but that still sucks. The TV, no matter what, still sucks. They added a 2x speed, they reduced a lot of it, and combat missions, for the most part, only have combat, which is great. But when you do have to play the TV, which is like for the most part like the story, it still really sucks. In my opinion, the storytelling within the TV mode is not immersive at all. I really hate it. In fact, it's just really annoying whenever they take away your control by injecting some dialogue, which is still really slow on a 2x speed. Unskippable dialogue nevertheless. Overall, I think the TV system still fucking sucks. It's not very immersive in terms of its storytelling. It's just really annoying. It's really irritating, and I wish the developer would really just remove it, but they refuse to do that, so whatever. However, the story, at least from the bit and pieces that I was able to gather, is actually pretty good. I actually do really enjoyed it, especially the more modern cyberpunk theme compared to the more fantasy theme that other Hoyo games are like Genshin Impact or Honkai Star Rail. I really like that every character have like their shonen moment where they kind of go bankai and just kind of whack stuff. I love that, right? I just like the fact that they're just fighting and stuff like that. Now, as a very big disclaimer, I'm not a very big story person. I pretty much, for the most part, just skip over all of them. There is a summary, so I was able to gather bits and pieces, and I think overall it was pretty good, even though I didn't beat like any of it. The Zenless on Zero combat is actually really fun. Now, I actually had a lot of fun with it, even during the beta, and I think they made a lot of improvement on the life system as well. One of the most noticeable thing is that they added this like kind of double parry enemy attack where you have to parry a string and then the screen kind of flash black a little bit and then you have to do a second parry. Now that's really cool. It added a little more dynamic to the combat, which I had a lot of fun with. I think that feeling when you're able to successfully trigger a parry string and stuff like that, it's just really good. The biggest thing to take note of for Zenless on Zero is that, in my opinion, they are a game more focused on fast-paced, rapid combat. I would say they have a speed feeling of 2x as fast as Wutehring Wave. It doesn't mean the gameplay twice as fast. It doesn't mean you have to input your key twice as fast. But it feels like you're fighting twice as fast just because of the way the game structures, which is really good because it allows you to create these big moments when you hit a parry, when you hit a dodge. Because the game feels faster, when you hit a critical parry, it feels more impactful because it is able to slow down time relative to the game's speed. So it feels like you hit a more critical breakpoint in compared to Wutehring Wave, where parrying doesn't really actually feel as impactful. Not to mention that the VFX on the parry system or the dodge system in Zenless on Zero is like much more bigger. It basically take up your entire screen flash, so it just creates this like very big impactful moment for you, even though that is significantly easier to parry and dodge in Zenless on Zero, which I'll cover later. Overall, I would say Zenless on Zero is significantly easier to play than Wutehring Wave. The skill expression in this game is really low, which I'll slowly cover. However, the most important call is that just because a game is easier to play or have lower skill expression does not mean it's less fun to play. That's the most important part. At the end of the day, people play game for fun, and if you're able to like hit 2 buttons but you feel like really badass, that's for a lot of people is a really good feeling, and for all of them that's all it really matters. And I think that's where Zenless Zero delivered the game the best. It is like a low effort game that feels really good. In fact, I think like you don't actually have to put effort into the game. You for the most part just press left click, which for someone like me who is looking for more dynamic combat is a little too boring, which I will now get into. Now, I was really fortunate to be able to pull both Colada as well as Soldier 11 on the beginner battle within 60 pull. I was able to get Colada, who is my first S rank character, within the 50 pull guarantee, and then within my next 10 pull, I immediately got a Soldier 11. So that means right off the bat, I have a really strong fire team. I learned that their main combo in Zenless Zero is that you have a stunner, which is Colada, who meant to stun the boss, and then you have a support character like Ben who do other things, and then you have your main DPS who come in after the boss is stunned to do her combo to do a bunch of damage. And this is where the game get really stale for me. It's the same thing every single time, every single boss fight. I put in my Colada, I bonk the enemy until they're stunned, and then I switch into my soldiers, I do my ultimate, I do my chain attack, and then I hit them a bunch with my left click. In comparison, I think Wutehring Wave is really good at making their characters just feels a lot more fun to play individually. Now, individually is going to be a really important keyword that I'll talk about later, but in general, I think Wuthering Wave character is just significantly more fun than Zenless Zero on an individual basis, mostly thanks to the fact that every single characters come with a Forte circuit passive, which means there is a specific dynamic way that they built into the characters for you to play. Take a laser character like Shanli Yao, for example. Shanli Yao has a really straightforward combo, but yet it feels dynamic and really fun to play, which is the ultimate and then into building the stacks combo. Note that certain characters in Zenless Zero is equivalently as dynamic and is probably just as fun to play, which for example, Ellen. Ellen was the characters I played it a lot during the beta. Of course, unfortunately, I don't have her on the live server, but I remember Ellen was a really fast character that have a more dynamic playstyles where you kind of run around to build stacks, and then you do this like snip Caesar attack, which was really fun. Unfortunately, the characters I was given was Soldier 11, so it's just not really fun to me at all. Soldier 11 has a really simple combo where you just kind of ult, which gets your infusion, and then you just spam left click. Now I know Soldier 11 have a small mechanics where you have to time your attack to attack the enemy for the infusion, but that for the most part only apply to the trash mob. When you're facing a boss, your combo is just always going to be stun, bong, and they do a chain attack combo, and then you switch in your soldier to spam left click. And that, while it was fun at the beginning to learn how to do my entire team combo, got stale extremely quick. And it doesn't really help that in Zenless Zero, you only get one ultimate between all your members. So it's always going to be bong, stun, ult on my Soldier 11, and that's the same thing. I'll never ever get to ult on Colada. I'll never ever get to ult on Ben. I think that was one of the biggest misses in Zenless Zero. It feels like I'm playing main DPS and then 2 Dragon. That's it. Like, it's not really a team at all. It's more just like I have these 2 stun bot who just go bong, and then my main DPS come in to do her left click spam left click combo, and that got stale so fast. And I was really lucky to have a full fire team at the beginning of the game already. I cannot imagine what will happen if I didn't get Soldier 11, and I just have to play with this bong collector the entire time. Now, this is actually going to be my biggest complaint with Zenless Zeros. I feel like the games is too stingy, as in they are not giving out enough pull. To remind you from the beginning of the video, I mostly was attracted to this game because of the newest character trailer, Jane Doe. She was just so hot. So my main intention and my purpose of playing the game or grinding the game out was to get enough currency so that I can hopefully pull Jane Doe, who's going to be the character of my interest. Now, Zenless Zero just feels like it gave out no pull at all. It took me like hours and hours of grinding for me to get a 10 pull, which then I just get a bunch of disappointment. Now, of course, in comparison, Wutehring Wave gave out a bunch of 5-star characters. They gave out 3 5-stars at the beginning of the game, as well as the latest patch, they gave out a really powerful 5-star character called Shanli Yao. And while we can say stuff like, oh, you're just spoiled by Wutehring Wave and they need to give out 5-star characters because that's how they have to compete in the market, which could be true, I think it still doesn't change the fact that I don't have a great experience in Zenless Zeros because I wasn't able to acquire a cool characters like Jane Doe right from the bat. Which, by the way, I feel like this is the thing that we need to talk about. The main point of playing a gacha game, or the proper name, hero collector game, is to collect heroes, is to collect cool characters. Your characters basically define how much fun you have. If you have a fun character that you like playing, you'll have more fun of the game. After all, that's like the entire point of the game. And because I didn't get the fun characters, I just naturally have less fun with the game. And I feel like that's true. My main motivation of playing the game seems to be to keep grinding out the currency, so hopefully I can get a fun characters in the future, which is of course Jane Doe. And I feel like them being so stingy was just so terrible. I feel like I'm just grinding over and over and over to hopefully one day get that character I like. Which, now let's talk about the next point. The grind is terrible in Zenless Zeros. There are these huge wall at a certain point of the game, like IK32, IK34, before you can continue to proceed with the story. Speaking of which, I actually thought the story was pretty cool. I'm not a person who's known to read the story, but from the bits and pieces I get, I feel like the story is pretty cool still. And it really helped me motivated to keep on grinding the game, keep on trying the game to give it a chance so that I can eventually hopefully get the character that I really want. Once again, that is Jane Doe. But then these huge barriers just come in and be like, no, you actually can't play the story. No, we're gonna have to put you into this agent story that you give no shit about and have a billion TV, which was so terrible. Grinding the internet level, going around doing all the side quests, TV quests, is just so bad, and it feels absolutely miserable. I feel like in comparison, the Wutehring Wave grind is a lot more bearable. In fact, they actually removed the level requirement to proceed with the main story quest for this exact reason. Because having to take a detour to do other things you might not enjoy is just not fun. And so Wutehring Wave made a smart decision to remove the level cap or the level requirement to proceed in the main story. And Zenless Zero unfortunately did not have the foresight to do that. And also because Wutehring Wave is an open world game, I feel like there's just a lot more to do to get you through that grind. If you're actually trying to grind, you can like run around and stuff, open some chests and get by pretty quick. And you can even do it during a work meeting, which is definitely something I did before. Don't tell anyone that. Shh. And maybe after 30 to 40 hours of grinding, eventually I did get enough currency to try my hand at a 50-50, and I lost my 50-50 to Grace. And then I just have no motivation to play the game anymore. And you can say like, oh, so you're just salty, you lost 50-50. Yeah, but the point of a gacha game or hero collector game is to get the characters you want to play. Your characters practically define how much fun you have because, you know, you want the characters that you find fun with, and I didn't get it. And at the same time, I feel like I lost all motivation to keep giving this game a chance, to keep playing this game, because it will take me another like 30-40 hours of boring grinding with my Soldier 11 team to get my heart pity on Jane Doe, and that's just not something I want to do. In my defense, I actually feel like this is a pretty fair statement. I feel like there's a lot of people out there who would try out gacha games, see if they get like cool 5-star from the beginning of the game, and if they do, then they will keep trying the game, and if they don't, they instantly quit. I feel like this is a lot of people, and so I was basically practically doing that. But the grind to get that 5 stars was so bad and so miserable because A, they were so stingy with the pull, and 2, the internet grind was just so terrible. And that's basically is the problem I have with Zenless Zero. I like the combat, but the rest of the game still sucks. The TV absolutely still garbage. The developer did not remove the TV from the beta, and so they make the game like that, and it's whatever. Speaking of TV, I did get my hands trying the Endgame mode, which is Hollow Zero, which I did play during the beta, as well as Shiyu Defense, which seems to be the new mode. These more are pretty cool. They're more combat focused, so that's naturally where I'll enjoy the game more, but I still have 2 major core problems with it. Starting off with Hollow Zero, which is Zenless Zero's roguelike game mode. This is the direct comparison to Elusive Realm in Wutehring Wave, and I feel like Wutehring Wave does it significantly better. The main problem with Hollow Zero and Zenless Zero is A, I feel like these buffs don't really change a lot. They are for the most part just stat boost, and B, the biggest thing is that the TV is there and it still sucks to navigate. I'll be honest, at this point, I kind of just want to go in and whack shit and get past the game mode. I don't really want to like plan my route, like to get the most buff, avoid debuff and stuff like that. No, I just want to go in and whack stuff, and the TV mode just, again, take away from that. In comparison, in Wutehring Wave, the Elusive Realm game mode make your character so overpowered that you just kind of go in and whack stuff, you know? Your character's playstyles completely change, which is really cool. They let you like infinitely cast your skill and something like that. At the same time, the buff is more meaningful because of the previous buff is like reduce your skill cooldown to like 0.1 second and stuff like that. So it does kind of change your playstyle significantly compared to playing the game normally. But at the same time, because it makes your character so overpowered, it does feel like a proper roguelike in comparison to Zenless Zero's Hollow Zero. Moving on to the other endgame mode, which is Shield Defense. Now, there's not actually a lot for me to talk about here. It is the exact same game mode as Genshin Impact Abyss, or even Wuthering Wave Tower of Adversary, and they all have the exact same problem every single time. It is, for the most part, always a pure DPS check. When I'm like level 35 and I'm trying to beat the level 40 enemy, I just can't do it. Not because I don't have enough skills, just because my gear and my level is not there. And so I just walk away with disappointment. Now they can say like, oh, of course you're not supposed to beat the end game at the beginning of the game. Yeah, but it doesn't change the fact that it is something that preventing me from playing the game. And so I can't just leave. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying the tower in Wuthering Wave is better. In fact, I think it sucks equivalently as much. I feel like these DPS check game mode just suck so much because when you fail, for the most part, it just feels like, oh, it's because your character didn't build enough to have enough DPS, and that's it. There's no other reason, that's it. The Wuthering Wave tower sucks just as much for the exact same reason, which I'll be making a separate video on sometimes later. So once again, if you're not subscribed to the channel, this will be a good time to do so. And again, check out the VTuber as well. I feel like both games actually do endgame terribly at the current moment, so there's like no competition. Wuthering Wave is supposed to be a game where your skill expression matter a little more, like parrying the boss, dodging in, but it turned out both of those things don't matter. I was able to like complete the entire endgame blindfolded. And you can argue like, oh, Zenless and Zero have little more skill expression there because you have to dodge and parry, which is true. But the dodge and parry in Zenless and Zero is like, if yellow flash, press spacebar. If red flash, press right click, and that's it. You don't have to like face the boss, don't have to time your attack or anything. You just click, and all the other time you just press left click. Boom, 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 boom. So Wuthering Wave had a little more skill expression in terms of doing your team rotation and playing your character properly and stuff like that. So they both have good point, but for the most part, they're both just as bad. To finally settle in the debate from the beginning of the game, do I recommend Zenless Zeros over Wuthering Wave? Well, it actually depends. I feel like if you're a person who is not really looking for a real game to play, you just want to turn your brain off and smash a bunch of buttons, yet feeling really cool and really flashy at the same time, I think Zenless Zero is actually perfect for that. Zenless Zero has significantly lower skill floor in comparison to Wuthering Wave, which, as a reminder, is not a bad thing. For some people, they do really enjoy that. However, I think if you're looking for a real game to like actively invest in to actually play, I think Wuthering Wave would be a lot better. They are really more generous to get you hooked into the game with their 3-5-star characters. The open world kind of help you immerse into the game better, and overall the characters is a lot more fun and a lot more dynamic to play. So I do have to recommend Wuthering Wave. Except for one last thing. If you're not looking for a game to play, aka you're just here to enjoy the fandom, I think Zenless Zeros is way better because of two things. There are way more people, so there are naturally going to be more chances of you meeting people who share the same fandom, hopefully cool people, and at the same time, Hoyoverse just have way more money to dump into the game. That means there's a lot more things you can enjoy outside of playing the game, which are, for example, like the trailers, how I actually got into the game. The Jane Doe trailer was really well done. I think it's better than any of the other trailer I've seen, including Genshin Impact, or for the most part, Wuthering Wave. They have real life event, I think that one in New York, and of course they have like a massive booth at like Los Angeles for Anime Expo and stuff like that. While Wuthering Wave lacked the funding to do any of these, and at the same time, because their community is a lot smaller, you can't really find the fan-made content as well, like cosplayer, fan art, fanfics, hentai. I wish Wuthering Wave have the funding as well as the community to deliver both these things, which are like more fan-made content or more like really POG official content that are outside the game. But unfortunately, I just don't see Wuthering Wave being able to deliver that for a long time, just because their funding is not there in comparison to Hoyoverse. So Hoyoverse does that thing significantly better in terms of that regard, and so Zenless Zero is like way better than Wuthering Wave in that regard, and that is something I wish to have. Will I keep playing Zenless Zero after this? Honestly, maybe. I mean, if I wasn't a streamer, I think I would have dropped this game a long time ago. But because I'm a streamer, and sometimes Wuthering Wave ran out of content, well, every gacha game ran out of content, you know, Genshin Impact ran out of content at the end of the patch too, then I think Zenless Zero come in a good time for me to like kind of play around so I can keep on streaming, because I really like chatting to people on my stream, which again, the Twitch link is in the description somewhere. But would I be playing Zenless Zero if I wasn't a streamer? Absolutely not. And I think that's basically is a perfect way to describe my first impression of Zenless Zero. Alright, now let's the comment section unfold, so let's see how it happens.